Welcome to the Shadow Council. We're here today with me, Mick, and Andrew,
This guy.
aka One Star Peeps.
Hell yeah. All right, so this week we have an exciting show for you. The first week of AVR season is in full swing now, and the format of the week is Archon solo, best of three, but you have to use an AOA deck. So,
AOA. Ready to hang out, but ready to win? I don't know. But
def-
that is actually the interesting thing about this format. Everyone has to play AOA.
right.
So so now we kind of have the meta, I suppose, of AOA, where
hmm
we're like, okay, we're looking for this perfect board state or perfect hand state.
Right.
um we're kind of building to it, and so it actually lets in a little bit more strategy where you're like, okay, maybe I can waste the turn or two, treading water to try and get the right pieces to my combo, or things to look out for in other people's decks.
Have you picked your deck for this week?
I have picked my deck for this week.
That's- Did your team help you out with that, or do you talk about your deck selection with your team at all?
So we did talk about it in the Discord channel.
hmm
It was a good meet and greet first week. Everybody's buddies. Everybody is a buddy.
Everyone
Everybody's a
gets to hate
friend.
on AOA together, something to unite the
Right?
team.
Yeah. Everybody gets to talk trash on each other's decks. No, no. Well, there may be a little bit of that. But it was good. Everybody jumped on. Actually, I was actually pretty impressed with the, I guess, the community aspect of it. Like immediately, most of our members jumped on and did a little meet and greet. Hey man, what's going on?
hmm
Um, and then everybody shared their decks of Keyforge collections, so everybody could check out each other's decks and whatnot. And there's definitely two or three guys in my group, or gals, I'm not sure. Their names are ambiguous.
hmm
Yeah, two or three people in my group that you know kind of knew a little bit more about AOA, or enjoyed playing AOA, or had a few more AOA decks than others.
Right.
Um, and so they really kind of went through and picked out three or four decks that they really thought was pretty good. Although it was funny, they picked out one of mine. They're like, "Oh, this deck, I really want to try this deck out. It looks really good." And I'm like, "It's not. Don't. It's not good. I
So
know it has a handful of good cards. You do not want to play it." But yeah, but like I said, I had two or three guys on the team that picked a handful of decks from people's catalogs or
hmm
collections, um, and posted them in the chat. And they're like, "What do you think about this one?" Or "I really like this one." Or "Man, this is cool because I can, play this wacky combo."
Right.
Um,
You
so
get
it
it.
was neat. It was neat. It was good to talk, and it got people start talking like, "Oh, I've got a deck with that guy in it, or I got a deck with this combo."
hmm
So it was fun. Being able to borrow a team member's deck is a huge advantage
hmm
because, as Z mentions, what one player does have quite an extensive AOA collection. So hopefully his team is using that to their advantage and all have 99 SAS plus decks ready to go into this AOA best of three
Right.
and just stomp
Oh,
everybody.
yeah. I guess what's actually particularly interesting about this setup here is I'm looking at the numbers that I've got, and Aviator's team actually has one of the lowest or smallest deck pools in total. But I guess it's just it might be a
All
quality over
AOA.
quantity kind of thing. Yeah, all AOA, all good AOA decks
All
apparently.
AOA.
So
I mean, they still have over 2,000 decks, almost 3,000 decks to pick from.
right,
And they only need 80. They only need 80 decks, right? 10 people, 8 games, 80 decks.
10 people, 8 weeks. Yeah, 80 decks.
80 decks.
Our next guest on the Shadow Council is Big Z. Z here holds the number one position on the Vault Tour leaderboard, is the admin of the Keyforge Premier League, a member of Team SAS, co-host of the Archon's Corner podcast, coached 4 players to a Vault Tour victory, head of a high school maths department, and last but not least, he was the captain of the winning team from the AVR League last season. Welcome, Big Z.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff, I guess. That
It
all
is
lines up though. Yeah, that's me.
very impressive list of stuff. Is there anything else about yourself you'd like to add?
I love playing board games with my family. That's how I got into Keyforge. We're really lots of legacy board games, Gloomhaven, a lot of those types of games, and then I literally bought the starter set of Keyforge for myself and 5 other families, and like our friends Miss Christmas thing.
Mm-hmm.
We all cracked the starters open and played for the first time, and um, we were all of us at some point or another were latched onto the game for a while. Uh, I'm probably the only one that's still playing out of that like initial group because of the rest only really played in live play.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, been quite wild. I'd never done anything remotely competitive gaming wise until P4.
Well, for your very first competitive game, you've certainly done well for yourself.
Yeah, I think I've done all right. I guess I could have done a little better, but yeah, it's been quite a trip. My first big competitive event ever was the Seattle Vaults tour, where I ended up third or top four, or however you want to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I met Eric and Nathan and
Yours.
Joe back when he was still on our team, like the
Mm-hmm.
original Team SAS. I'm super happy about the ABR getting as big as it is now, and helping as much as I can from like just my little stint of it grow. And then the KFPL is obviously our big push to have competitive Keyforge uh, out there spotlighting the best we can.
Well, it's doing a good job. It feels like a very good alternative to whatever Knowledge is Power was trying to do.
It was a worthwhile, in my mind, adventure at the time. I think it's obviously still a worthwhile adventure. Hence, Jupiter started his thing, reached out to people that he knew would help it grow, and those people happened to be Carl and me.
Right.
From there, we've added some folks to help us, because it does take a lot of time.
Yeah, I'm super impressed with how much, the competitive scene, and just like even the casual scene has really, you know, taken off over the past year or so online. Like I was shocked because I was kind of one of those guys who, I love playing in person. So as soon as the lockdown happened, I was like, well, I guess I'm just never playing Keyforge again.
I mean,
But
I went through a lull too. Basically took all of summer off. I was still responsive to some extent with my team. I was kind of already in that lull when Shadow Worlds came around. I didn't play in Shadow World. I didn't really do anything all summer. I didn't come back till September, and then that's kind of around the time that Jupiter had reached out to me, and we started. I guess it was a little bit before this September. I guess August, July. I guess right after MM came out, because that created a buzz again game.
Mm-hmm.
So I
yeah, that pushed it a little bit.
Yeah, so I think like the MM launch with some of the other, like the MM launch, KFPL starting up, ABR I think was starting to have their first non-isolated to Cali thing. I think that's when ABR2 was starting.
Sounds
Um
correct.
Something like that, because that's where I jumped in. And between like the KFPL, ABR, like additionally supporting what KFPL is doing, we're now starting to see a lot more like localized little chain bound things popping up.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know Archon's Corner is doing that now too. I'm starting to see that in more places that are kind of replicating what they're doing. Um, the ABR channel has their own events that are seemingly more attended than they used to be. I don't have like,
Yeah.
obviously my time is very very spent. So I do see them pop up. So I have not played in any of them, but I'm glad that they're going. Like the more of that we see, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Especially for like the health of this game we all love.
So last week we spoke to Flaming Hobo, and he said that his capting style is a lot more hands off. I imagine being an educator and you have a little bit more hands on of an approach. If that's not the
Well,
case.
I'm hoping this season's gonna be a little bit more interactive. I loved my team last season. Obviously, we're able to grind out the win at the end. My son actually ended up being the MVP of our team for the playoffs. We were super active, like together as a team at the beginning of last season, where half of the team, I would say, was like uh not as active. It's not like they were nerked, like they would respond if you ding them or whatever.
Right.
But they weren't active enough to have like comprehensive discussions about it. So I ended up doing like a lot of the okay, I think we should play this in this slot, etc., like the whole way down the team. So I'm looking for a little bit more interactivity.
Mhm.
But once the decks were picked, they were pretty much like they would, ask advice, and I was able to like, well, this is what I see, and especially on the rounds where like you see your opponent, I
Mhm.
was like, your opponent's deck can do this, this, and this. If you can take away this, your win con becomes this. If you can't, stick with this as your win con. And that seemed to help quite a bit. Um, Based on the results, I think out of all 7 weeks, our team only lost 1 week.
Oh wow.
Um, so we
You
were pretty happy with that, obviously. So, or
get a lot of
uh,
players coming back saying that advice was absolutely correct, or
I mean, the most of them did win, so I guess that. But like, typically it was on the next week after that, and they didn't say much at Jet anyway, other than "Yay, I won!" and people with thumbs up or whatever.
well, sounds like everyone
Except for
had fun.
Jupiter. Jupiter does not listen to my advice at all, ever. But he did win most of his games, so good job, Jupiter.
Maybe he doesn't need the advice.
Maybe. But if he does ever hear this, no, in reversal, you do not play key charge for key one. It's not good. You're losing an
It's in
amber.
your
There's no other
hand.
way to
No.
look at that. Um, okay,
Fair.
definitely wanted to get that out there.
No, please.
And anyone else that has ever actually done that.
Speaking of reversal,
Yes, my
uh,
favorite format.
I was about to say, knowing it's also your favorite format, what's some advice, some key pointers for someone trying to improve at reversal?
Well, I guess I'll start off with first of all, don't play key cheats if they cost you amber. And it's not the third key. The main thing is it's a constant valuation of amber and reversal, more so than it is in a regular format of keyforge. I think the most simplified term, other than is just to understand that every one amber basically is twice as valuable as an amber in a normal game. So, like, if you have 3 creatures that can reap, consider that 6 amber and just do it. like almost without regard to what, unless your hand is actually going to generate 3 amber, and that almost never happens in reversal.
Mhm.
Like that's the biggest thing. Like just double the value that you place on 1 amber. And I think a lot of people's play decisions, because a lot of like people know how to play keyboards. We've got a lot of really great people in ABR,
Mhm.
in just in general that play the game. So they know the value of amber. At least you have a pretty good internal value of that. Because I also play a lot of like Quixelstone. Like in Quixelstone games, like the value of amber is basically 50% more. Um, it is definitely doubled in reversal. So if you go in with that in mind when you're making that decisions, that the eternal hand versus board decision, that will help you understand which one is the right choice. Because sometimes reaping with 2 creatures is better. Like reaping with 2 creatures and playing 2 cards is better than playing 4 cards and only getting 2 amber.
Okay.
Uh, and that's the main thing I see when I'm playing reversal.
Is there a team that you least want to face throughout the season?
I actually kind of am fearing Aviator's team. I think the most when I did my initial evaluation. I haven't like looked at all of them. I really like all of the picks. Um, and he's got the person that I just talked about, whose collection basically fielded half my team.
Hmm.
At a certain point, so I know the deck quality is super there. If I was playing this week, I would be very hesitant against whoever has Joker, because I know he's like more AoE decks than anyone else on the planet.
Anything else you would like to talk about? Something to promote? You got Archon's Corner or AFPL. This isn't gonna come out after this
Yeah.
Saturday, so
Okay, yeah. What the Archon's Corner is still obviously doing our cast. I know that we are running the Gauntlet. It is a 4-set 75 task kept survival. I think the first week is the last Saturday of February, and in the survival because it's 7 rounds that day, and then the final rounds will be the 1 week after, the first Saturday of March. There is a cost to entry. The prize is super cool. There's lots of prizing Dan's able to get through the store that it is being hosted through. But the big thing is you can actually win the Dusk Runner minifigure. So that's pretty rare. There aren't that many floating around anywhere right now. So yeah, that's the main thing that I can promote. Other than that, looking forward to hearing you guys throughout the season. Other than interviews, you guys anything other plans for ABR promotion or whatnot?
for us. Well, wait, why are you asking us questions? No.
It's not how interviews work.
We're gonna be trying to do commentary. Ideally 3 ABR games a week.
Oh wow, I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah, so
That'll be
best
fun.
of 3 weeks we get to do one match, and then regular weeks we get to go around a little bit farther.
Sounds good. All right. Well, let me know when y'all want our features or someone from our team, and I'll make it happen.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Cool.
Anything else you'd like to add, Mick?
No, I think that's good. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for answering our questions.
No problem.
Good luck this season.
Yep.
And,
You always need some luck in Keyforge. Always.
Right.
Next week is Sealed Week.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun. That's always a lot of fun.
Right.
Mainly because it's new decks. I like playing new decks. I like playing with new decks.
Yeah, I guess next week the pool of decks that your team has access to doesn't matter. So
That's true. I don't. Yeah, that it takes that whole. It's just
raw skill, baby.
Skill. Raw talent against raw talent. I love it.
The good thing you're not against Z-Force agents next week.
I know, right? Whew. Dodged it. Dodged a beating. What are you talking about? I'm gonna win. We're gonna win this week, and we're gonna win next week too, and we're gonna win 8 straight weeks in a row. And
you heard it here.
Here
there it is the team to look out for.
Right. Put your money on us now, and then I'll just take your money and leave. In other Keyforge news, this past weekend, today of day of filming, Forging with Friends tournament was sponsored by the Keyforge Premier League. It's actually Keyforge Premier League qualifier tournament. And so what were the prizes? What was the purpose of this tournament, Andrew?
The purpose of the tournament this week was to add the final contestants to the Keyforge Premier League Season 2. And today's event culminated in 6 new players getting added. 2 of which are actually ABR participants, X-Ray Creator and Ewok Jr. So congratulations to them. And also congratulations to everyone else who made it in today. So what effectively this means for the Keyforge Premier League is that the regular season is set up in a round-robin style, and they just essentially added an extra player to each group that's going to compete in round-robin. So the Keyforge Premier League, those people who are excited to watch it, you get a whole extra week of Keyforge Premier League when that happens. And that about covers our Keyforge Premier League news for the week. Be sure to check back in next week when we'll probably go a little bit more in depth, as it will be the first week of our pairings will go out for Keyforge Premier League.
And if you'd like to see the one-ish kind of match that we were commentating on earlier today, check out the
This
YouTube channel.
Over here. Somewhere. I'll put it in one of these spots. Yeah. I think that about wraps up everything we have to say for world news for the day.
World News Center.
So thank you all so much for watching. I'm Andrew, 1-star peeps. And this is my co-host, Mick Shupuff. If there's any events that we didn't cover and you'd like us to, make sure you leave a comment in the bottom below. Hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, the council is watching.
The council is always watching. Ooh, you and me play against each other week 3.
Week 3. Well, we can talk about that next week.
That we can.